Are we live?
Yes, we're live.
We're live.
Woo.
Hola.
Hola, Unconventionals.
Happy Sunday. How is everyone today? I am very excited. I had some extra coffee today, so consider yourself warned. But I have to stay seated, JP. I cannot be bouncing around. JP always says I act like a hummingbird because I like to get up and move around a lot. So my goal is to sit still and not kick the tripod.
Yeah, that's the main challenge for today is don't kick the tripod.
Yeah, now that we put it out there, I probably will, since I have a tendency to do that.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to give people a chance to get connected. And today we're going to talk about the lies that we believed about other countries before we left the United States and moved abroad. But first, Amelia wants to tell you about our premieres.
I do. I don't know if you all know, but we have started doing premieres for our videos on Thursdays, and it's been really fun. So I hope you guys can join us. What it is, it's a watch party that we're on, and we are there to chat with you live before, during, and after the video premieres. So we would love it if you could join us. JP puts it out there, the premiere notification, within 24 hours.
Yeah, usually on Wednesday.
Yeah. Sometimes we're a little bit late.
Yep. And I'm chatting as Amelia and JP, and Amelia chats as Amelia. So you know who is who.
Yes. Yeah, it's really fun. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. It's not a live video. I know some people were confused about that, but we are on in real time. So.
Yes. Yeah. It's a pre-recorded video, but we chat before, during, and after it.
Yes.
It's fun. Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing that. So make sure you show up on time so you don't miss the beginning.
Yes, that is important. In our opinion, anyway.
Thank you, Donnie Boy.
Donnie Boy, 73. Hola. Muchas gracias.
We will drink some, we'll toast you with our next coffee outing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I need some water now, though. Ooh.
All right. So I think we can go ahead and get started, Amelia. What do you think? Are you ready? So we wanted to talk about this because we get a lot of comments in our videos about what do all of the poor Ecuadorians think about us, the expats living here, basically this high quality of life that we show. What do the Ecuadorians think of that? Well, part of that is our false beliefs that we had before we moved here, and a lot of people still have, is that all Ecuadorians are poor. It's just not the case. The poverty rate in Ecuador is high. It's 27% since the pandemic. So it is high, but not all Ecuadorians are poor. And we want to kind of talk about that stereotype and some of the others that we had before we moved here that have really been shattered from our experience abroad.
Yeah, when we were doing our research 6-7 years ago, we found a lot of information, which maybe some other people have seen, about poverty and crime and stuff like that. And we were really guarded when we came here. And then we arrived and we realized that we were completely mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, like JP said, there is poverty. We are not downplaying that in the slightest, especially in the rural areas. And because of the pandemic and some other factors, like tourism being down and then the recent paro, there are people who are dealing with poverty more in some areas than others. But there are also a lot of people who are middle and upper class here. And we've heard from Ecuadorians that tell us that they appreciate us talking about this topic because they don't like either. They don't like it either that there is this perception out there that Ecuador is an extremely poor country.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was reading the other day about the World Hunger Report, and oh my gosh, I've been so sad about this for days, that Ecuador ranks like number 5 out of, I don't remember. They don't rank well when it comes to world hunger. 15% of the population is dealing with food scarcity, and that's a lot. I was really surprised to read that. I mean, I knew we were having some issues, but I honestly did not think it was quite that bad. And especially since, as JP always says, there's so many fruits and vegetables around, it's hard to imagine. But that doesn't mean it's getting to the people who really need it, especially in some of these rural areas. So
yeah,
made me very sad.
Yeah, the poverty level, we're jumping way ahead here, Amelia.
Oh, sorry.
The poverty level is much higher in the rural areas than it is in the cities, which, you know, we've lived in the cities except for Olón, and Olón was very poor. But the cities where we lived in Manta, Cuenca, and now the Quito area, is the poverty rate is much lower, and you notice it by the types of cars that you see on the road. It's a lot different in the cities than it is in the country.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ted. Really appreciate it. Hola from Ted and Wendy.
Hola, Ted and Wendy. Muchas gracias.
So what started this whole thing is I read a book several months ago called Factfulness, 10 Reasons We're Wrong About the World and Why Things Are Better Than You Think by Hans Rosling. He actually died, I think, right before this book was published. He had cancer and died, but his daughter kind of picked up the torch and they published this book based on his lifetime of experience working as a doctor in foreign countries. He's from Sweden and his family is. And it really kind of opened our eyes to what we're experiencing because we had this perception about what life was going to be like outside the United States. Then we got here and realized that perception was totally wrong.
Right.
And why? Why did we have this wrong perception? So he talks about all this in the book. Like when we're kids and we study in school, like about Mexico, for example, you picture a guy wearing a sombrero and a colorful poncho playing a guitar, and you think that's what Mexico is. With Africa, you picture people dancing around a fire like a tribe on the dirt and dancing and stuff. And then for Ecuador, you picture everybody living in cinder block houses with no plumbing. And it's just not an accurate representation of the world. It's almost like a snapshot from history that we are perpetuating as the way things still are when they're really not. Most countries are not third world. That's an outdated term from the Cold War. It's not really used anymore. Countries are either developed or they're developing.
Right.
And Ecuador and Mexico are developing countries, meaning they're building out the infrastructure. They have houses, normal houses with indoor plumbing and electricity and high-speed internet. And there's only, I think, one country that is really, really still considered poor in the world. The rest of the countries are all developing or developed. So we're kind of taught this stuff in school as well as in TV, on the news, TV, movies, TV shows. They all perpetuate this myth that the United States and Europe are fully developed and we live like this modern civilized world, and the rest of the world is stuck in like 1850. And it's just not true. So one of the things that is perpetuated is that people in every other country are poor.
Right. Except for people in Western Europe and other areas. Yeah. Like the Scandinavian countries, Australia, New Zealand, and US and Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's just not true. Thank you. Vivir Amar Orar.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias. So,
yeah. And I know that we were going to be encountering places with no indoor plumbing or running water, of course, but I had family members asking me that, you guys, which was kind of ridiculous to me, but it's not really that surprising.
Yeah. So like I said, 27% of Ecuador is in poverty, but that means 73% are not. So that really the country has 18 million people. So there are about, 13 million people who are not in poverty. And probably half of them live a pretty nice middle class or upper class lifestyle. There are a lot of Mercedes, BMWs, Audis, Porsches, Land Rovers. I mean, this country has people who are poor, but it's not a poor country. And the Ecuadorians are kind of offended when people assume that.
Right.
So and we get thanks all the time in our comments and in private messages from Ecuadorians saying, thank you for showing, more than just what you see on these horrible commercials about starving children, which brings us back to UNICEF. So we are now donating monthly to UNICEF. We would encourage you to do the same thing. They help provide food, clothing, and education to the poor kids of Ecuador. The UNICEF Ecuador, here, I'll put the link in here so you guys can go check it out.
Those commercials are powerful, but that's not how the entire country is, of course.
Yeah. So let me type this in here. I know that's the problem is that we watch these videos of these poor people and we think the whole country is like that when it's just not.
No. And also the whole country is not full of people who are uneducated. We get that one too. And it is ridiculous. There are a lot of very highly educated people throughout Ecuador that are Ecuadorians, not just people who are transplanted from other countries.
Yeah. As of 2008, the public universities in Ecuador are tuition free. So if you can pass the entrance exam, you can go to a public university for free. And a lot of the younger people we know are highly educated. And our doctors that we go to, they speak multiple languages, many of them trained in the United States, Chile, Argentina, Europe, and they are super smart. They're up on all the latest findings, scientific studies. And I mean, we were constantly impressed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they've got private universities here and private primary schools too. And they're more expensive, but the education is very high quality. I don't know.
Hold on.
Oh.
You can keep talking.
Okay, sorry. We have to check the chat every once in a while.
Yeah.
Sorry for the.
Sorry.
I almost said radio silence, but that doesn't really make sense.
No. Okay, so the private universities, they have some really highly rated private universities, and they're pretty expensive. But you know, there are wealthy people that live in Ecuador, and their kids go to those private universities.
Absolutely. And also the other stereotype, not just for Ecuador, but countries like Colombia, Peru, is that everyone here is indigenous, and that is not the case. There is a variety of Ecuadorians here who are, well, some of them are Spanish descent and just some of them are European. We've got people from all over. It's definitely not as much of a melting pot as maybe the United States is, but not everyone is indigenous.
Yeah, I think Ecuador, the indigenous population is about 6%. So it's 94% are not indigenous. So when you see like the colorful clothing and stuff, it makes it seem like they're the majority when really they're kind of a small minority of the population, especially when they hold their national paros and shut down the whole country. You think, wow, that must be a whole country of indigenous people. But it's a small group that carries a lot of weight and has a lot of power here.
Yeah, they're an important part of the culture of Ecuador. And the indigenous live more in the mountain areas. We did not see nearly as many indigenous communities in the coast, or on the coast, I should say.
Well, I think they dress differently. On the coast, they dress like I do.
Yeah, because it's hot.
It is hot. They dress like they wear cargo shorts and t-shirts on the coast, and it really doesn't matter if you're indigenous or not. That's pretty much the clothing.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to wear the full. Some of them wear all black, and they wear full length skirts, and then their hats, their felt hats or their wool hats. They would be very warm
on the coast.
On the coast, yes. Actually, we're wearing our coastal shirts today.
Yeah, we got these on the coast in Montanita. This is from Montanita Sol. It's made by a local Ecuadorian family, and these buttons are made out of tagua, which is called like a plant-based ivory. It comes from the palm.
Oh, I don't remember.
Palm
you ask
tree.
me this every time,
I
and
know,
I never
it's
remember.
like some palm tree. Anyway, it's really cool.
It is really cool.
But this is what they wear on the coast.
Yes. But anyway, okay, we got completely off topic. Imagine that.
So the next stereotype that we get a lot is that they think everyone is super religious. It's a Catholic country, and it's like 75% of the population is Catholic, and there are churches everywhere, but it's not like in your face religion here at all. It's kind of a keep to yourself culture.
It's definitely a live and let live mentality here in Ecuador. So, and there's a lot of different types of religion too. So if you're wondering about your particular faith, you probably will find it represented here. Yeah. Not everyone goes to a Catholic church.
Yeah. Hey, Dean, we are going to get to the comments when we're done with the live video portion. If you I want to make sure that we see your comments, drop a super chat. But once we're done, and we're almost done with the live video portion, then we will shift gears and read the comments.
Yes.
Let's see. So the next one is that everyone is conservative, super conservative, because, if everyone's religious, they must all be really conservative.
Yeah, and that is definitely not the case.
And we don't mean politically conservative. We mean like, pure, more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not like politically, but more like a pure kind of
Puritan,
wholesome lifestyle.
Yep, there's lots of parties. Sometimes we see people starting to drink at like 10 o'clock in the morning. Zero judgment.
Yep.
People dress a lot differently. They're not all covered up. I know when we were on the coast, people were like, oh, you need to cover up. I'm like, I'm living in a beach town and it's 85 degrees and there's a bunch of surfers around. People are wearing their swimsuits.
Yeah. Thongs and G-string bikinis.
Not me.
Yeah. No. I mean, we occasionally saw topless women on the beach in Olón. I mean, it's not that conservative. They are definitely, I say a lot of times, I feel like it's a Mexican soap opera. because some of the way that people dress, and I mean, it looks like that. So,
well, they also dress up too.
oh yeah, they
Yeah.
dress super nice.
Yeah. Beautiful formal clothes. The men wear really nice suits. It's not a Puritan, buttoned up, no neck showing, no skin showing culture.
Donnie Boy asked the question, do locals get resentful of expats moving in? For the most part, no, they do not, because the expats bring a lot of money, which creates jobs. And so they are actually happy. And the government has made it very easy for expats to move here because it's estimated around $600 million a year in Ecuador that's money that we import from abroad into Ecuador. And the government doesn't have to do anything for that money. They don't have to make deals with the IMF or foreign corporations. All they have to do is make Ecuador attractive to expats and make it easy for them to move here. And it's just like the money starts flowing in. So no, most people do not mind us moving here.
As long as, I'm a caveat, the people moving in, the people immigrating into Ecuador like us, try to fit in with the culture. What people get irritated is when somebody comes in and tries to change things dramatically. And I know there were some clashes going on during the pandemic in some of the smaller communities like Vilcabamba, but we have not experienced any of that ourselves.
No.
But we love the culture here.
Yeah. All right. So the next point is that everyone is connected to the mafia.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't believe people actually say this stuff to us.
Yeah. They say that 90% of the Ecuadorians are in the mafia or in a gang. It's just not true.
No.
Not even remotely true.
No.
Unfortunately, it's a lot of the people who are really struggling to put food on the table who get recruited into those organizations.
Yeah.
It's not the school teachers and the vendors at the mercado. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, please.
And we get those comments a lot. It's really insulting.
It is. It's very disrespectful.
Yeah.
And that, and I feel like we had another one recently too, but I guess the mafia. Well, no, that or I'll say we're in the drug cartels, which is a little bit different than the mafia.
Kind of the same. They're one and the same, Amelia.
Well, I think there's a distinction.
All right. So number 7 is everyone steals from the tourists and the gringos. That's just not true either. No. I mean, this is a culture of negotiation, and they are going to do the best to charge as much as they can to everybody they work with, not just gringos or expats. It's a negotiation culture. It means they start high, they expect it to be negotiated down. If expat pays the first asking price, that's their own fault for paying more than the vendor is willing to take. And as far as like pickpockets and stuff, that happens to everybody. We have a friend here that just had their purse stolen. It was an Ecuadorian friend. So it happens to everybody. They don't target just gringos.
No, and or tourists. No. And a lot of places will list their prices. So you just need to go in and ask. We were really impressed when we were in the Mercado in Loja. They had all of the produce prices listed. I'd never seen that anywhere before. So it makes it really hard to gringos somebody if you have the prices published. Yeah,
it was interesting to see that. I'm surprised they don't do that everywhere else.
I know. That was really smart.
JP, the Walter White of Ecuador. I've had that a lot. That and Jeff Bridges.
Yes.
All right. So once again, that's kind of it for our live video broadcast. We just kind of wanted to address some of these stereotypes and kind of the false beliefs that we had before we started traveling abroad. And, we went to India, and that also contributed to us realizing, wow, it's not all, they don't ride donkeys everywhere.
No. And everyone is not out to get you. Gosh, we were so paranoid. Well, maybe JP wasn't, but I was. I had the money belt, and I've said this before, I was like locked down, and I didn't want to carry anything. And now I just don't carry stuff because I like to be hands-free. But people are always walking around with their cell phones everywhere. And when we first got here, everyone's like, oh my gosh, you can't have your cell phone out. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I was like, everybody else is doing it. Why can't we?
Yeah.
Well, you can. And we did get our phone stolen, but we weren't paying attention. That was our own fault.
I didn't have it out though. It was in my pocket in a crowded bus, and the guy was really clever. He got it without me even recognizing.
Yep. But like JP said, that happens to Ecuadorians. It happens all over the world. So.
Yeah.
That's an unfortunate thing about humans.
Yeah. I had my rental car broken into in San Francisco, and a backpack with 2 laptops, and my passport and a GPS device, and it was full of stuff. I had an iPod in there. It was before iPhones.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. But that happened in San Francisco in a really nice suburb. So it didn't happen everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it. That's it for our live video broadcast. Now we're going to just shift over and do the Q&A and answer your questions. But we do want to remind you that our channel is viewer supported. And somebody said, well, don't you make money on ads? Well, if our viewers don't watch the ads and don't watch our channel, then we don't make money from those. So regardless of whether it's ads or super chats or the super thanks, then that's what supports us and helps us continue making these videos. So we highly, highly appreciate all of the support you guys give us so that we can keep doing this.
And those likes are helpful too. So don't forget to give us a like.
Yeah, the likes.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, YouTube, the likes and the comments make YouTube very happy, and that tells them that people like our stuff and they will suggest it to more people.
Yes, and we must appease the YouTube
gods. The YouTube algorithm. Bow to the algorithm.
Thank you, YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now we're going to shift over here. So let's see. Let me make this bigger. This is somehow small again. I can't read anything.
Poor JP, even with his glasses, he struggles.
Yeah.
All right, JP, I'm going to close this.
Okay.
And I'm going to take another little sip of water.
Okay. Wow, look at all those likes we got. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate it.
I know.
Did JP notice it was better in Cuenca the second time? Yes, I have really not been having issues with the elevation, but I think a lot of that's due to the weight loss. And like I said, we aren't drinking anymore. And we were drinking some wine on special occasions, but I've cut that out. I had some medical issues. We're going to talk about next week. I think we're going to talk about the health care system and my recent experience with it. I've had an ultrasound, multiple blood tests, a colonoscopy, an MRI.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen a urologist, an oncologist. So you guys are going to have to wait to find out what the results are on that. But I've seen a general doctor.
You went to the eye doctor.
Eye doctor. I got new glasses. It's basically like
busy.
I know somebody posted a comment and said, we miss your videos when you're out and about. Get back out there. I'm like, well, I've been in the doctors. It's been a nightmare since we got back from the States, but I'm doing okay. So
yes,
no immediately dangerous.
No, everything is fine.
Lisa Vander Stewart.
Cool name.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for the clap. Lisa.
Is that like a reverse clap?
I like it.
It looks like a reverse clap to me.
It's cool. Whichever.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say my health has improved since we've been living here. My cholesterol is now under control without medication. So I'm happy about that. Thanks to for sharing and discussing all those misconceptions about I'm not sure what.
Estella, we're not exactly sure what your question is.
No, but if you type it in Spanish, we'll probably have better luck with it.
Yes.
Sometimes things don't translate very well into English. Yeah, Uber. We use Uber quite a bit.
Uber and
Azu
Taxi. I really like Azu Taxi in Cuenca. However, it does not work the same as Uber, meaning you still have to pay cash. Don't just walk away because the cab driver will not be very happy with you.
Yeah.
I think Cabify works like that too. I tried using that with a credit card and it did not work.
Yes, we have not experienced venomous snakes in Ecuador. We saw some garden snakes. We haven't seen any poisonous snakes, have we?
I hope not.
We've seen more tarantulas than snakes.
Yeah, sorry if you're the person who sent an email and I completely forgot to respond to you. We have, knock on wood, we've not had any snake encounters out hiking. Not like we did in Colorado when we were hiking on one of our favorite trails, Deer Creek, and there was a rattlesnake like this big around, just lounging, stretched off across the trail. I saw people like walking around that snake, but we turned around and left.
We went the other way.
Like, I don't think so.
Yeah, no way. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for all the information. Good. I'm glad it's helpful.
Yes.
See any capybaras? Those are not in.
Well, we saw those little mini ones.
Well, they're not capybaras. We don't have those in Ecuador, but we do have a large rodent that is related to them, and it looks similar. We saw those in Mindo.
Yeah, they were really neat.
We asked our guide about it, and he said, "Yeah, we have those. They taste like chicken."
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody says everything tastes like chicken. Isn't
Yeah.
that what they say about like frogs and snakes?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
My wife and I just found you recently and are really enjoying the videos and info. Thank you. I'm wondering if you find there's an Ecuadorian animal rights vegan community.
There are a lot of vegan community. Well, there are, I shouldn't say there are a lot. There are a few. I don't know if there's any true animal rights one. There's a lot of animal support groups, but they're mostly for like dogs and cats.
Mm-hmm. There is one farm animal rescue near Cuenca, I think.
Well, and we've heard about one here in the Quito area somewhere where they will also help farm animals, but I don't really know the details. So that's a really good question. We'll have to check into that.
Yeah, there's a lot of cat and dog rescues and you can volunteer at some of them, although most of them just ask for donations. They need money to buy food more than they need volunteers.
Food and spade and neutering
and medication, like antibiotics and various shots and stuff like that. They need money to buy all that stuff because they have a lot more especially dogs, than they have resources to take care of them in many cases. So they're always asking for money, and we give when we can.
Yes, we do.
So e-bikes popular there. Can you rent them? E-bikes are very popular. You can buy them. We have not seen them, the e-bikes for rent.
No, not e-bikes.
Although our condo has e-bikes that you can just check out, which is nice.
But we've seen regular bicycles for rent, and we saw some scooters for rent in Loja.
Yes.
And Viajando Mundo.
Oh yeah, Viajando
Muchas
Mundo.
gracias. Thank you.
Travel the world.
Love it. Yes.
Or traveling the world.
One of the things I did want to mention, somebody asked last week about the tourist extension, and I did hear back from a recent person who had extended their visa. They were able to leave the country and come back in, no problem, just like you would with a normal visa. However, the clock does not stop ticking, meaning you cannot do 90 days. It has to be consecutive. Does that make sense?
For the extension?
For the extension, not for the first 90, but your second 90 is consecutive. You cannot just come and go and have it stop and then come back like 3 months later and pick up where you left off.
For the extension.
For the extension. Hopefully that was helpful.
What is the music scene like? It's actually really good.
It is
especially
good.
In Cuenca, and
Cuenca had a lot.
Olón actually did.
Yeah.
It was a good. Loja has a really big music scene.
Yeah, there's a lot and a nice variety.
Carlos says the culture of pet ownership has changed a lot. I'm very glad. So are we. It's definitely not. When we first visited here in 2017, the stray dog situation was really bad. I mean, we saw them fight, packs of dogs running around the street, fighting with each other. It was bad. But since then, we rarely see that. The dogs we do see now on the street are owned by people. They have families. They just go out and walk themselves. It's a free range dog society. They pretty much open the gate, let the dog go walk itself, do its round, and it comes back home.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah, it's a different world. And then also on the beach, a lot of people just let their dogs run. And we've heard from a few people who've been attacked by dogs on the beach. I always carried a walking stick, and that was a good deterrent. Somebody said that they carry a taser, which I'm not sure illegal here, but if you just make the clicky sound, they run away because they're afraid of the sound. But, just some people carry a squirt bottle with ammonia in it, and that also works. But it's unfortunate that, especially on the beach, they just let the dogs run. And in these little rural towns, the dogs, they don't really have much of a yard usually. So, I mean, and it's hot. You're going to leave the dog like locked up indoors? No, they just let the dogs run. They can manage themselves. So
yeah, we know a couple people who have been bitten. Fortunately, we were not one of them. That would really be scary.
we got accosted. I would not say attacked, but we had dogs bugging us, especially with Daisy. They would come up and barking and
but nothing ever happened.
Yeah, except I got mad a couple times. I yelled at people in my horrible broken Spanish and told them to put their dog on a leash, and they're like, "Oh, the dog's friendly," as the dog's going, and they're like, "Oh, my dog's so friendly." I'm like, "Look, this is your dog. This is not a friendly dog."
But we had the same problem in Denver. Remember when we were walking around in that what was
It was a yellow lab.
It was a lab too, which is really weird because they're usually really sweet dogs, but that dog was not friendly.
No, it was like it's going to try to attack Daisy. It was really like growling and barking. And the guy's like holding the leash. My dog's really nice. Like, it's not nice. It's basically trying to attack us. That is not a nice dog.
No. At least not to other dogs.
Yeah. Well, and then Daisy used to be really kind of vicious. That's why I always have her on a harness, not just a collar. She'll get out of that easy, but I got a harness for her and I keep her on that because she's not friendly and she can get really bitchy with other dogs. And, other dogs are off leash and they're running up. They're like, oh, my dog's friendly. I'm like, but mine is not. That's why she's on a leash, because she is not friendly.
Anyway,
Conrad Nagel, muchas gracias.
Thanks, Conrad.
If the U.S. dollar loses its value, what will happen to the prices there? Will inflation go wild? We're not economists, and this conspiracy theory has been floating around since we went off the gold standard in the 70s, and it hasn't happened yet. Right now, the dollar is one of the most valuable currencies in the world. If it crashes to zero, I would say that inflation will be the least of our worries. So we don't worry about it, and certainly nothing we can do about it. So
no, it is a scary thought, but yeah, JP's right. We don't worry about it. We keep an eye on things, and the inflation rate right now is 4.12%. So it has gone up a little bit more, and people are definitely starting to feel it. We've noticed some prices in some price increases, particularly in some produce. So yeah, I mean, if the U.S. dollar crashes, I don't even want to think about that.
No. Michael McNeely, $10. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the dancing pear.
We like the dancing pear.
I know. It's awesome. Chicken should also be on a leash. Very true. Especially the roosters. The roosters can be really mean.
They sure are beautiful, though. There's some really fancy, muy guapo roosters here.
Yeah, they're so colorful.
Yes.
They're bright, like rainbow colors.
But I think they need to be on a little muzzle because, boy, they can be very noisy at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Louise says, is crime getting worse there? Is it a bad idea to consider moving there in the future? Crime has gotten worse. I mean, there's just no denying that. However, it's mostly in specific areas, and a lot of it's robberies. The murder rate has gone up, but again, it's mostly in parts of Guayaquil and Manta and Puerto Viejo where expats do not live. So we have no plans to leave. It's still safer here than most U.S. cities. And again, the crime here is in kind of the major cities, just like it is in the United States. So if you live kind of in a nice suburb or in rural town, it's not nearly the same as it is in like the barrios in Guayaquil or Quito. It's just, it's basically, where do you want to live? And that makes a big difference as to how safe it is.
There was a little bit of a crime spree when we lived in alone during the pandemic. And part of it was just some drunken person that was borrowing people's bicycles because they would find the bicycles a couple days later. And then there was somebody that was robbing houses. I mean, it happens. How we had somebody try to break into our house in Denver, not downplaying the crime anywhere, but it seems like all over the world, the crime is increasing, or at least that's what I'm seeing in my news feed and my headlines. But as I think I said last week, the news media likes to really emphasize all the doom and gloom and the scary stuff. So, I mean, there's definitely truth to that, but I think a lot of times everybody fixates on that, everybody being these news outlets, as opposed to some of the positive stuff that's happening in the world as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good things going on in Ecuador.
Yes.
Too, in terms of like social programs, tourism, infrastructure development. I mean, there's just a lot of really good things going on here, but only the bad stuff makes the news, because if it bleeds, it leads. Yes. That is the age-old mantra of the news media.
Yeah.
So that's all. Crazy. That's our only perception of the world, is that the rest of the world is on fire all the time, and it's everywhere. Like in Ecuador, there's some really dangerous areas in Ecuador, but 98% of the country is still pretty safe. Right.
Just like every other place.
Yeah.
The whole United States is not dangerous, but there are parts that you probably don't want to go and hang out in.
Yeah. Yeah. 7 of the most dangerous cities in the world are in the United States. Ecuador only has 1 in the top 50, and that's Guayaquil. So let's see. I saw question here: what natural resources does Ecuador have? A lot, actually. That's part of the contention with the indigenous people is
Mm-hmm.
that they don't want foreign corporations coming in and basically raping the land for all the natural resources it has. So it's actually been kind of an issue.
Oil is a big one.
Yeah. There's all kinds of mining in the
Yeah.
Amazon that yields a bunch of precious metals and things other than just oil. So it's kind of a sticking point here, but there's also tourism. There's a lot of food. It's one of the major exporters of food and roses, all kinds of flowers, orchids. So there's all kinds of stuff here that
chocolate and coffee
are major natural resources.
Bananas.
Oh yeah. Major exporter of delicious bananas.
And the avocados here are amazing, although I don't think they get imported. So you have to come here and enjoy all the different variety of avocado. Yum.
Yeah. Have you done an extended trip to the jungle or rainforest area in Ecuador? Not yet.
I know.
It's on our list.
That and Baños.
Mm-hmm.
Baños is inching up there.
Yeah.
And Galapagos. I know we say this all the time. You guys are probably sick of hearing us say it.
Yeah. How hard is it for expats to launch their own business in Ecuador? Very easy.
It is pretty easy.
It is so easy to start a business in Ecuador compared to the United States. It is just the barrier is so much lower. We know a lot of expats who own their own business here. In fact, they come here, reinvent themselves and start a business. Some of them do real estate, like magazines, newspapers. They do hotels, like different kinds of lodging. They do guided tour groups.
Specialty foods.
Oh yeah, a lot of specialty foods, all kinds of stuff. Like I think we have a list of everybody that we know and what business they owns on our website somewhere.
Yeah.
I'd have to go find it. I wrote that a long time ago. But
hair, massage. There's so many things you could do.
Yeah, and it's really, really easy. It's nothing like the United States, where basically it takes an MBA, and thousands of dollars to start a business. It's just basically you hang up your shingle, and then if you make money, you figure out how to pay taxes. It's pretty much.
You have to get your root, which is like your tax ID, so that you can give out receipts and pay your taxes that way.
Yeah.
Although now they're supposed to all be electronic. I don't know exactly how that
That'd
works.
be awesome.
Yes.
Yep.
Raul, muchas gracias.
Raul Arenas. Arenas.
Wait, we butchered that. Sorry. Lo siento.
Niñas. I'm sorry.
I hope you're laughing and not cringing right now, because that was pretty cringe worthy.
Yep.
And Grace, you're right. All of Guayaquil is not dangerous. Of course it's not. It's a big city. We really like Guayaquil. We had a lot of fun when we went there. Remember, JP, when we went and did the Malecón and all of that stuff?
And we went to San Borondón too. It's absolutely beautiful in that part.
Fancy.
Yeah, we love the Ordesa neighborhood in Guayaquil.
Again,
it's like certain parts of Guayaquil are pretty dangerous. Other parts are mostly safe.
Right. Yeah, like Chicago, New York City, LA.
Yeah, it's
Houston.
Like Denver, there's parts of Denver we would not go at night. But but most of the Denver metro area is pretty safe. But what is your favorite place to live in Ecuador and why? Wow. I don't know.
Our favorite place? We've lived in so many places and moved around.
I don't know. I still love Cuenca.
I know you were going to say
That's my favorite. I love Cuenca. I love it. This architecture is beautiful. We have so many friends there, and when we go back, it's just like it's like going home. Like, when you live away from your family and you go back home, and it's nothing like a vacation, because you spend every day making the rounds, seeing all of your friends and family. Well, that's the way it is for us when we go to Cuenca. We see our friends and our adopted families.
Yep.
And
Cuenca is amazing. Gosh, it's so beautiful. I love all the rivers and the river walks. We just walk everywhere. There's just so much to do. It's really easy to overeat because there's a lot of really good restaurants. But I don't know. I really liked our time in Loja, JP. That was beautiful. And we would be speaking a lot more Spanish there. Mm-hmm. I love that we could just go for awesome hikes within the city limits.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to go outside of the city to go for some really cool hikes.
I think you liked Olón, though. She liked Olón much better than I did. I loved our beach walks and all the restaurants and stuff, but it was way too small of a town for me. But Amelia
I really
loved
enjoyed
it.
I enjoyed the community. I mean, it was really small, but I liked seeing everybody, getting to know our neighbors, and being a local is opposed to a tourist is a completely different feel. And I like the beach. And then we could walk across the street and go into our hikes in the jungle and see monkeys and go for bike rides. And I thought it was really nice, but it was kind of hot sometimes.
And cloudy. 7 months.
Oh my gosh.
Of no sun. We didn't see the sun for 7 months.
I did not like that. That was brutal.
Yeah. MFJ Labs. Hola de Florida.
Florida.
Gracias por tu muy informativo divertido videos. Yo espero visitar Ecuador en 2024. What is that? 2024 or 25 and retire. Oh, nice.
Oh, well, buena suerte.
Yeah. So hopefully you can retire sooner.
Yes.
We're going to talk about retiring sooner in one of our upcoming videos.
And hopefully you're doing well in Florida. Florida got hit really hard from that hurricane. Jeez.
Yeah. Esperamos que está bien en Florida.
Sí. Muchas gracias.
My grandmother from Cuenca, father from Quito. How easy for me to get a resident visa?
You should be able to get a visa easily if you have family members that are Ecuadorian.
Yes. If they are still Ecuadorian citizens, if they do they have to live here? You might qualify for the Amparo visa with your father if he's still alive and living here. You need to check with the visa agent, but the Amparo visa might work for you. Yeah,
you definitely. Well, the nice thing is that if you have ties to an Ecuadorian citizen, you can skip the temporary and go right into permanent residency. So it's a really good option for you.
And then fast track to citizenship too. So it's really easy if you have a close Ecuadorian relative, like a parent or grandparent.
Yeah. So that will shave 2 years off of your citizenship. I can't say citizenship journey if that's where you're going.
See, that's what happens, guys. You start typing in Spanish, and then Amelia's the other side of her brain kicks in, and then she can't speak either language. Nope. All right. So what does your family think of you both living there? They thought we were crazy at first, but my parents were not surprised. I have always been unconventional with my life choices. So my parents I don't think they're ever shocked at anything I do.
Yeah. And my family, they were supportive. There was the concern about how safe it was and if we were going to have internet and stuff like that. But you know what? I've been living by myself for a long time. So it's not like I needed, I guess I've always had that independent spirit, and they just really weren't that worried.
Yeah. And we didn't live near our families anyway. When we were in the US, we were all very geographically dispersed.
Yeah.
And so it's not like we saw our families very often anyway. So it's no different now. We just don't see them quite as often.
For a while, I saw them even more because I was going home. When we first moved here, I was going back to the States for work. So I would see him more regularly than I did when I was living in Denver.
Yeah. Luis Flores.
Luis.
I'm in the process of getting my Ecuadorian visa. I gave them a proof of employment and income, but I'm being told that my employer needs to give me a termination date of 2 years at will state.
Oh, I guess it depends on the type of visa you're getting, but yeah,
Oh, that's for the rentista or the digital nomad visa?
Could be where they need the 2-year contract, which I know is not a normal thing for Americans. And I don't really know how you get around that other than to.
Yeah. And it's not a termination date. It's basically a guaranteed employment period.
Right.
So they have to guarantee that you're going to work for them for the next 2 years, and if you work in an at-will state, then they're not probably going to do that.
Yeah. I don't know how you could do that. Hopefully you can. Yeah, I don't even know, honestly, because this is a government thing, and it's really because the language is just so different here.
Yeah. Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah. Let us know what you find out.
Please do. We would love to hear.
Thank you, CJ.
Shaki. Muchas gracias, CJ.
I am so bad with last names.
Shaky? I don't.
So bad with last names.
Last names are tricky. Well, your last name is easy.
Yeah, mine's really. Although we still have trouble. People still have trouble pronouncing my.
In Spanish and English, no. In Spanish, it's tricky. Okay.
Yeah, somebody said marry an Ecuadorian to speed it up.
that would work.
When I became a U.S. citizen, my Ecuadorian passport was taken away, but I'm sure that I can Ecuador with my birth certificate and get a cédula. That's weird because you can have dual citizenship. I'm not sure why they would have taken your Ecuadorian passport. They should not have.
But yeah, if you have a birth certificate, as long as you could prove your Ecuadorian citizenship, you should be able to get your cédula and a passport.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Sorry, not much of. I'm sorry, I've not okay, university study, is it in English or Spanish? Mostly Spanish, although they do have English immersion programs here. And a lot of the Ecuadorians that we know and are friends with speak English as well as we do.
And they're learning that in school. So you may find a combination. So I don't think there's any curriculum which is strictly English.
Yeah. Yeah, Ecuador has dual citizenship. No reason for them to take your passport. Correct.
Yeah, that's odd.
Best surf town to live aside from Montanita. Ayampe.
I was just going to say Ayampe.
Ayampe.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool there.
There's so many though. Puerto Cayo is really nice too. Ayampe is not because it is got a bay and there's not surf waves there. But Salinas is popular, although you have to go into La Chocolateria, La Chocolatera, whatever it is. And it's where the sea lions are, Los Lobos.
Yeah, I think you need to be pretty skilled with your surfing to try to surf there because it looked a little bit dangerous to us.
It was an advanced surfing area with sea lions.
Olone's a great place if you don't want to live in Montanita, the next town over. Any stretch between Puerto Lopez and Montanita would be good, in my opinion. Puerto Lopez, no, because it's also like Ayampe, so it's kind of like in a cove and it's really calm there. That's where they have all the boats that go to do the tours, like the whale watching tour in Isla de la Plata.
Yeah, we hadn't seen very many surfers there, did we?
No, it's not really set up for surfing at all. Yeah. I don't think you could surf there.
Santa Marianita, I'm not sure we saw it there, or San Lorenzo. Did we see surfers in either of those?
No, kite surfing. That's where they do kite surfing.
Richard, where'd it go? Richard Deneen. Thank you.
Gracias, Richard.
You are amazing.
So are you.
Yeah, Amelia, you're amazing.
So are you, JP.
Thank you.
So are you all, Unconventionals. Gotta love that coffee I had.
Pronounced shaky.
Oh, shaky. Oh, gracias.
Muy bien. Thank you. Thank you for the phonetic spelling.
Yes.
There was another one. Do you have expat friends with families? How easy or hard was it to relocate? So yes, we do. And several of them are in our Discord community that's connected to Patreon. So, and they're happy to talk to you if you're interested. It's only $5 a month to join our Patreon community. It just helps us kind of, I guess, weed out the riffraff. We have a lot of really good people who are in there. It's nothing like Facebook. We don't have trolls. They're not allowed. No. So it's a really positive, supportive, helpful community of current and future expats. Most live in Ecuador or are planning a move to Ecuador, but we do have some that are looking at other areas too.
So we know several families that have little teeny tiny little kids, babies, and then some teenage kids, and they seem to really be enjoying their new lives here. You know, it's a lot of new adventure. They're learning Spanish. Kids are so adaptive too. That's the thing, is that if you can come as a kid and learn Spanish, you can be fluent in like a week compared to us old bogeys. And it takes us like 10 years. I'm a little bitter. Not really. I'm actually super happy for them. It's really neat. We love it when we meet people who are coming with their kids and that they want to, expose them to a different culture and get them in the school system and everything. So it seems pretty good. I think where people get concerned is if they are leaving their grandkids. We get a lot of people who say that they have a hard time thinking about leaving their grandchildren, which we don't have grandkids, so we can't relate to that. But I imagine that would be very difficult. That's why we always say you can do, Zoom calls and FaceTime and go back and visit and then have them come and visit you as long as they're not, too little. Although babies, of course, can come too. This is a very baby-friendly country.
Extremely. Oh, that we should have mentioned under the conservative part is that we commonly see people breastfeeding in public, sitting on park benches, walking down the street in the mall. I mean, it's breastfeeding is considered perfectly normal here.
Because it is normal.
I know, and there's statues. We've seen statues in Ecuador of women breastfeeding.
Yes.
It is common. It is common throughout. That's one of the other things that people, I think, would be surprised or about, thinking of this as a conservative culture, but it's not. So, and we're happy to see that.
Yes, we are. Oh, we got hippos.
Uh,
Vivir Amar, muchas gracias.
I
Love
like the dancing hippos.
Yes.
What is your favorite Ecuadorian holiday and why? New Year's Eve, although it's not totally Ecuadorian, but the burning of the monigotes is so much fun.
The celebrations here are amazing. Oh my gosh, we have such a good time. It's a big party. It's family friendly. Everybody's out. There's contests to see who can have the biggest and the best monigote, which neighborhoods. There's fireworks, there's dancing, music, food. Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yes, a lot of fun.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the next one. Anyway, where are we?
Sorry, I'm just was reading that one.
Oh yeah, somebody brought up the Inca Lounge. Yeah, Inca Lounge is a really fun spot. We used to hang out there back in the day.
Yeah,
we didn't go the last time.
No, I used to go there and hang out with some guy friends. We used to go there in the afternoon and play dice and drink beer.
And eat some chips and
eat
guacamole.
Chips and guac. They have good chips and guac.
And Club Verdes.
Yeah, monigotes rock.
They do. Yeah, if you guys can come and visit during New Year's, oh my gosh, you will not be disappointed. It's cool to go to Cuenca for Christmas Eve because they have the unique Christmas Eve parade, which lasts the entire day. It is a big party too.
Yeah, that's fun too. I really do like. I do like Christmas Eve in Cuenca.
Yeah,
I don't think they do a big parade like that anywhere else either.
No, that's just for Cuenca.
Yeah, and then there's Cuenca days too, November 3rd. The whole week kind of leading or around there, leading up to it or after it. If it falls on a Friday, then that's a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yep.
Ecuadorians know how to do a good holiday.
Carlos asks, what is wrong with breastfeeding? Absolutely nothing, but it's people in the United States lose their minds if they see somebody breastfeeding.
Yes, it's very odd.
Yeah, they even have rooms, like special rooms women can go to in places to breastfeed, like in malls and stuff.
Yeah, you hear every once in a while about somebody being like publicly shamed in other countries, not here in Ecuador, but in other countries. I find that strange.
Yeah. I mean, it's odd for us to still see that because we're just not raised with it and we're not totally used to it, but
we are in full support of women feeding their children.
Yeah, I know. It's a perfectly natural thing.
Yes. Oh, David 13, a monigote is like a big plaster. I don't know if it's actually plaster
of Paris.
Yeah. Dummy, like, yeah.
You can make them out of, it's like a plaster of Paris thing. And a lot of times it's politicians or cartoon characters or your neighbor. It could be anything. And then you set them on fire on New Year's Eve and you you put your wishes, like things that, isn't that right? Things that you want to come true. And then you light them on fire and burn them.
And that's usually like a full body. So it's like a puppet, like a full size or full, arms, like full torso, everything. And then you write your wishes on little scraps of paper and you kind of tuck them inside. And then on like midnight, you light them on fire. Sometimes there's fireworks on the inside of them. You need to be careful. Another tradition is to jump over the burning monigotes. That's supposed to be for good luck. However, people have been getting burned doing that. So we do not do that ourselves. No. And I would not want to buy any with the fireworks in them. That's a little dangerous to me. Yeah. I'm not that brave. I can't jump that high either. But it's really cool.
What are your top 3 neighborhood recommendations in Cuenca that are walkable but slightly away from the noise of the city center?
Well,
El Berhel, El Baton or La Baton, El Baton. The one over by Apartamentos of Torongo.
I'm not sure if that's El or La.
The Baton neighborhood. That's nice. That's kind of away, a little bit away. It's closer to the Otorongo, and San Sebas is also nice.
I like the Tres Puentes area quite a bit.
Yeah, Tres Puentes is super nice. It's a bit further out. That's about a 20-minute walk into Parque Calderon from there.
Pretty area. Really any place that's not El Centro. Like right over by Parque Calderon gets pretty noisy.
All right, Amelia, you stopped talking.
Oh, sorry. Well, you got all quiet.
No, I'm reading these. Sorry. What's the quietest city you've lived or visited in Ecuador?
The quietest?
Cotacachi.
Cotacachi was very quiet. You're right.
You could hear like crickets and night bugs and stuff. It was so quiet and so dark at night there.
That's a really neat area. We don't talk about Cota very often.
It's so beautiful. It's just like panoramic views everywhere you look. It's incredible. I understand now why it's been so popular with expats for so long, is that it's just breathtaking there.
It really is, and it's small, but there's a nice variety of things to do. Good restaurants. There's an organic market on Thursdays, and then you've got Otavalo, which is only 10 minutes away for a bigger city. And then you have the big Otavalo internationally famous market that they do on Saturdays. So there's a lot to do in that area. We don't ever talk about Dakota.
I know.
I don't know why. Guess we need to go back because there's an amazing Indian restaurant there.
I know, and I have a new drone. I want to get some 4K drone footage.
We need to make a trip, JP.
So I don't know if you guys have even noticed, but we're doing our videos in 4K now. So it's really cool when we do drone shots with 4K video. But I have no 4K footage from Cotacachi. We weren't filming in 4K then.
Nope. Well, time to go back.
Thank you, Peter Max.
Peter, muchas gracias.
Is that a fox?
I think it could be
with a
little heart. Very cute. And MW, muchas gracias también.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you there. Although I think that could apply to a lot of places.
Yeah.
We don't even know what country you're from, but we agree.
Yeah. So true. Things are so crazy in the world. I'll tell you what.
It's a crazy world right now.
That's why we just all have to stick together and keep smiling and try to stay positive.
Any quiet cities near or on the coast? Crucita, I don't know. That was kind of loud when we were there. Santa Marianita was quiet.
Santa Marianita, I think, is a quieter area.
San Lorenzo is quiet. Ayampe is pretty quiet. We really like Ayampe.
Ayampe, they don't let you do all the loud partying on the beach there. At least they did not the last time we were there. So that might be a really good option.
Yeah.
I can't say Alone was quiet.
No, Alone was not quiet.
No.
And neither is Montanita. So,
no, Montanita most definitely not.
Some of the little towns along that stretch, though, like what's next?
Like Nunez and San
Jose.
San Jose, perhaps.
La Entrada, those were pretty quiet and close to the Alone Montanita area. Mm-hmm. So you've got nice restaurants and shopping at your fingertips.
Manta was pretty quiet. I thought Manta was quieter compared to some of the other places we've been. If you want more of a bigger city. With Manta's nice because it has an airport.
Sorry, no political comments either way. We don't allow politics in our community because it's basically just destroys our community. So we work really hard to keep the politics out from both sides, all sides. How many sides are there? It seems like there's so many sides now. It used to be just 2 and now it's like 50.
I guess it depends on the country you're from too, though, JP, right?
Oh, yeah. Salinas, Chapipe is pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Salinas, the Malecón in Salinas is not, but Chapipe is, which is just, what is that? I guess southwest of the Malecón.
Yeah. Chapipe is really nice too. And boy, the beach is really pretty. It's very calm there. You can go and do some paddle boarding there if that's your thing.
Yeah.
We like it there.
Yeah. $700 Social Security. Your best bet might be Nicaragua, Argentina, Turkey, Montenegro, Tunisia. We've heard good things about Nicaragua recently. A lot of our viewers are living in Nicaragua and have for years, and they love it, and they say it's super cheap.
Yeah, and Guatemala came up too.
Yeah.
We had people saying that they really like Guatemala. There's definitely other options when you're on a more of a restricted budget. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely Ecuador. Ecuador fits nicely in with the kind of middle-class expat, but not the lower budget expat. It's still more expensive than some of these other countries.
But who knows what'll happen because they change their the pension requirements often.
So Bolivia actually is the most affordable country in South America. So that's another option. Check into Bolivia.
I don't know what their financial requirements are, but
they're low.
They're low. I want to say they're only like 300 or 400. But they don't have a traditional retirement or pension visa. but they do have long-term visas. So you would need to work with a Bolivian attorney there to help you out. But there are definitely ways that you can make that work.
Yeah. Here we got the Celeste ask the question. If Guatemala is so good, why are Guatemalans leaving? Well, because they need money. It's the same reason Ecuadorians go to Spain and the US, is that they are looking for more opportunities to earn money. And a lot of times they get jobs in other countries and then they send that money home to their family. In fact, in Ecuador, one of the line items for the government's economic plan is what they call remittances. And that comes from the Ecuadorian families who live mostly in Spain and the United States that send money back to Ecuador, to the families. So, I mean, that's why they leave to find better opportunities. The wealthy Ecuadorians and Guatemalans are not leaving. They're not illegally immigrating to other countries. They travel like everybody else does. We have a lot of Ecuadorian friends that go to the United States regularly, and on tourist visas, and a lot of people go to Spain, Ecuadorians, because Spain has a really favorable visa program for Ecuadorian citizens. So, like we said before, not all Ecuadorians are poor, and the ones that are not poor go legally. So, unfortunately, there are a lot of coyotes that prey on people. Horrible. The coyotes are the people who make big promises about getting people into other countries, and then they often don't deliver on those promises. But the people are desperate and they believe them, and
so sad.
So they save up money for years that they could use for other purposes, and then end up losing all of it a lot of the time. You recommend Medellin. I'm thinking Manizales too.
Medellin, yeah. We had friends that lived there and they absolutely loved Medellin. We have not visited ourselves. However, we hope to do that sooner than later.
Yeah, soon, very soon.
Yes, yeah. It was interesting because we did a video about different types of rent, what you can get for under $1,000, and we did Medellin, and I was surprised the rents were a little higher than I had anticipated, but it may have just been the areas where I was looking. A lot of times you have a better opportunity to find a bigger variety of rentals when you are actually there in the area and you can walk around and work with the locals as opposed to just looking online. But boy, it looks amazing. Colombia in general looks amazing.
I know. I'm so excited to go tour Colombia.
I know.
So hard for me to say Colombia. It doesn't roll off the tongue. We're so used to the District of Columbia, British Columbia, Columbia, Missouri, but then it's Colombia. Colombia. Yeah. So it's on our short list of places to visit.
It's also spelled differently, which you just got to picture the spelling. It's an O instead of a U.
Yeah.
How is that for helpful, JP?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I say Colombia.
Colombia. Okay. Yeah, Rico Suave. Yeah, we've heard good things about Paraguay as well. But we have not really done any research. We've looked into Uruguay, but I know JP's been talking about Paraguay a lot lately. So
yeah. But Bolivia is higher on the list for me. Somebody asked where to live in Bolivia. La Paz is really high. So if you're okay with elevation, I think it's the highest capital city in the world. So I don't know that I would want to live there. But
not with your elevation issues.
There was the city called Santa Cruz or something that's on the eastern side. It's much lower. It's only like 2,500 feet. That would be more my speed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in Bolivia looks really freaking cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Americans hold 2 or 3 jobs. I know that's the same thing in Ecuador too. It's not so much jobs as it is entrepreneurial income streams. So many of the Ecuadorians we know, it's a very entrepreneurial culture, and they have multiple streams of income, which is what we preach to our audience, is that have multiple streams. So if one dries up, you have another to pick up. Almost every Ecuadorian we know does 2 or 3 different things. It's so cool.
Yeah, we really like that. Well, and then but they're doing it on their own terms as opposed to having a traditional job. Of course, we know Ecuadorians who have traditional jobs too, like doctors and nurses and bakers and things like that. But I love that because we kind of do the same thing, right? We do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and create that flexibility. But I also appreciate, Celeste, that you called it jobs because back in the day, we called it having a part-time job, and now everything's a gig or a side hustle.
Yeah.
Although now I catch myself saying it too.
Yeah. So La Paz is almost 12,000 feet, La Paz, Bolivia.
Wow.
So that is a lot higher than Quito in Ecuador.
Yes.
Somebody said the highest capital is in Ecuador. Nope, it's not. 12,000 feet is really high. Yeah. So Mike put that on there too. Almost 500 people here. Yeah. Hit the like button. Give us
Yes,
a like.
please.
That tells
Thank
YouTube that
you.
you enjoy what we do and then they are nice to us.
Well, and I don't know, hopefully you guys could tell we really enjoy doing these live streams. So thank you again for coming and hanging out with us and letting us just prattle on.
Yeah.
JP, the coffee really kicked in
That
this
was
time.
good
Feeling
coffee.
good.
Good Ecuadorian coffee.
Yes, yes. I love my Ecuadorian coffee. The stuff from Loja. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Highly recommend.
Where would you recommend to look for remote work? Many U.S. companies are cracking down and making people come back. I know it's crazy, isn't it? I just think that's insane. There's a lot of things that you can look, a lot of websites online. Upwork is one, Fiverr is one. A lot of them are gig websites. But I just read an article this morning that said something like 75% of companies, like major corporations now, are using some level of freelance worker to add to their, like, basically their workforce, because they said it can take 4 to 6 months to hire a new employee and they can get a freelancer on basically the same day. So there are even some websites now that cater to teams, like they'll bring a whole team of freelancers to a company to work on a specific project. There's so many options. That's why we're working on our online income fast track e-course that will be coming out soon.
Who knows when?
We're almost all the written content is done, but now we have to record the videos, and we've been so busy with everything else we haven't had time to record yet. So
what is that one? Flex Jobs?
Flex Jobs is another one where like brick and mortar companies will post jobs for remote workers.
Yeah, and we always recommend trying to work within your field and see if you can convert your current job into online work, or maybe your current job for a new company if your particular company is not being very online work friendly. That does happen, unfortunately.
How much do you tip there at restaurants?
We usually tip $1 per person.
Or 10%.
Or 10%, yes. And it's not mandatory, like, it's not really mandatory in the US, but it is expected, right? I saw that in the news recently about the tipping culture in the US and
tipflation.
Tipflation, is that what it's called?
That's what it's called now, tipflation, where they want to tip for everything.
Yeah, we were really surprised like that. And we talked about that in our culture shock video, because we were asked for tips. We hadn't even seen a person. Like, okay, this is new.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. And it's crazy. It's not just crazy to us. It's crazy to Europeans, all sorts of people. You know, tipping is not the norm elsewhere.
Yeah. And now it's the norm in the US for everything. The article I read said somebody went to a concert at Red Rocks and they bought $80 worth of t-shirts, and the little iPad kiosk was asking for a 20% tip on just buying t-shirts at a rock concert.
Wow, that's bizarre.
That's crazy. I mean, they didn't provide a service. They said all they did was bend over and pick up the t-shirts and hand them to us. That is not a tip-worthy level of work.
But also, I'm reminiscing the last time I went to a concert, there was no buying your t-shirts with an iPad. So that's new too.
Yeah. Yeah. So the article said basically that they've created a guilt culture, because it used to be when you left a tip, it was just you were the only one that knew whether you left one and how much. But now it's like front and center, and everybody's standing around watching you, and the person is standing there waiting for you to select a tip amount. So it's created this whole culture of guilt around tipping. And if you don't tip, you feel like a cad. But what the article said is you shouldn't feel required to tip unless it's like a normal tipping circumstance, like you've been served at a table and someone waited on you and brought you your food and filled your drinks and that kind of stuff. Like where you would normally leave a tip is one thing. For somebody like at Chipotle taking your order and taking your credit card, that is not a tippable event. And
or buying a t-shirt.
Or buying a t-shirt at a concert. So you shouldn't feel guilty by not leaving a tip in those circumstances. And I totally agree with that.
That's crazy. Wow. I did not read that article, and that's just nuts. Also, $80 a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm sure the t-shirt prices have gone up too.
Yeah.
At first I thought you were going to say beer because, geez, now you go and buy anything like at the airport or a concert or at a ball game, and the concessions are so expensive.
Yeah.
Food and drinks.
Somebody said you have to pay attention too, because some of the restaurants include the tip. They do that here in Ecuador too. You have to watch. Sometimes there will be a 10 or 12% gratuity on the check. But what we've been told is that goes to the restaurant and not to the server necessarily. So we usually just tip the server with cash here rather than put it on the credit card, because they may never see it. In the US, that's illegal, but in Ecuador, lots of things are not illegal.
That is true.
Yeah.
Oh, and Arizona, thank you. So what curl products do I use for my hair? So I have in the past used Aveda. In Ecuador, I can get Chi products, CHI. But my favorite is I have a curl cream and a gel that is from Anoa Cosmetica, which is made in Cuenca, Ecuador. They do all sorts of skincare, which I use and love. And then the owner of the company has curly hair, so she has curly hair products.
And they're super nice.
They are so nice.
And they will deliver. You can order online, right?
Yes, you can order online. So you can get your products delivered throughout Ecuador. I don't think they ship it to other countries.
Not yet.
But you never know.
Someone said, do you ever expect to return to the U.S. to live? No.
No.
We
don't ever say never.
Yeah,
don't want to jinx us.
We don't plan on it. They would have to overhaul the healthcare system in order for us to move back at least before 65. Once we qualify for Medicare, we at least might have the option of moving back. But until then, we don't even have that option because I can't afford healthcare in the U.S. The insurance rates are ridiculous as a self-employed person. And I've got multiple health issues that are expensive to treat in the U.S. and very affordable in Ecuador.
Well, and also there's so many other countries that we would want to live and experience the culture. Since we already lived in the U.S., we don't really want to do that again unless something dramatically changes.
Yeah.
But we have no intention of it. We love Ecuador. We say this all the time. We love it. Love it, love it, love it. What are you laughing at?
What hair products does JP use for his curls? Nada. I use bar soap. No special products.
No. JP's pretty low maintenance compared to me.
I do have to shave once a week. I shave this once a week. It's gray now anyway, so even when it's a little long, you can't see it.
No, kind of like your eyebrows, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a full head of hair and like thick black hair before I met Amelia, and then it all fell out of my gray.
Black hair. Yeah, right.
I had blonde hair until I turned 18, and then it started looking more like bald hair. And by the time I was 25, I was buzz cutting it, and by the time I was 30, I was shaving it. So,
and here we are.
Yeah.
I like your look, JP.
Thanks.
It works nicely.
Oh, my head's hot right now. It's this light, all the lights. Low maintenance bar soap. How effective are police in Cuenca? I don't know. They're nice. They stand out on corners and they'll give directions and they'll say hola.
Yeah, I don't know. We've heard mixed reviews about the police in Cuenca, but we don't have any specifics to share, so we're probably not the best people to ask. Sorry.
Yeah, we don't have any firsthand experience with the police other than getting our fingerprints taken. They were nice.
Yes, they were very nice at the police station when we got fingerprinted.
Yeah, watching you guys on YouTube is one of my favorite things to do. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
That is very kind of you.
I really appreciate that.
We're up to 324 likes.
Wow, thanks everybody.
Awesome. That may be the most we've had on a live stream. Thanks to a few people pointing it out. We don't think about it very often, but YouTube does like engagement.
Yes,
likes and comments.
Yeah, Carlos, you're right. There's areas in Quito that could be quite expensive with the rent, but there's areas like the Chayobamba area. They've got some fancy houses there that can get pretty expensive too. That's outside of Cuenca.
Let's see. To what extent do you think your positive evaluation of Ecuador is experienced by non-expat local folks with different socioeconomic power? I would encourage you to watch the beginning of our video once we're done here if you missed it, because we talked about the misconception that everyone in Ecuador is poor. And the people, I would say, in the lower socioeconomic groups, that the ones that interact with expats really like having expats here.
Mm-hmm. So we got to know a lot of our neighbors in Olón in particular. And I mean, they were all from all different walks. So people who they seemed pretty poor. They didn't really work a lot. And then there were some, wealthy Ecuadorians that had vacation homes there. So a nice wide range, and everybody was very friendly and welcoming. We met the business owners. I don't know. I think that most people are very accepting because, as we've said before, it's a live and let live culture, but it's also about how you come across to them, right?
Mhm.
So we really try to work hard to integrate into the community and, get to know our neighbors and to give back. And that makes a big difference.
The way we are here, this is the way we are with our Ecuadorian neighbors and friends and the people we see on the street. We say hola. We know like everybody that sells on the street, like all of the street vendors, we basically, and the guards, the security guards, we say hola. They all know us because we talk to them and say hola and buenos dias, and they all know who we are, and they're all happy when we walk by. They're like, oh, como pasado?
Happy people.
I know, como pasado? ¿Cómo está? I mean, they're just super nice. It's super nice people. For some curly hair products with JP. Thanks, John.
I wasn't laughing at your comment. I was laughing at John. Wait, awesome.
Yeah. I know. I always get the bald jokes. That's all right. That's who I am. I'm used to it because I'm 50. I have been basically bald longer than I have not been bald. Although I do remember being able to run my fingers through my hair. I had this little cowlick coming down. I really liked that. I miss that, being able to run my hand through my hair, but I don't miss shampooing and getting my hair cut. I don't miss any of that.
So somebody went by, but somebody asked about taxes. Yes, you pay local taxes here. If you earn taxes inside Ecuador, you pay taxes on that income. You do not, it's our understanding that you do not have to pay any taxes on your pension. We've heard that from multiple sources.
Correct. Yeah, you don't have to pay tax on any income earned outside Ecuador. It's a territorial tax country, which is what makes it really nice for the second passport and residency.
Right. So tax, but there is tax on food. Well, depends on the type of food, on services and other stuff. So there is sales tax and other types of taxes.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
There's no sales tax on the open produce avocados, which is nice.
Correct. What city do you recommend for somebody who never visited Ecuador? Cuenca.
We always say that.
Cuenca is really the best place to start especially if you've never been to Ecuador or if you haven't been abroad very much or off resort abroad. Cuenca is really good.
Yep, we love it. It's walkable, expat friendly, nice variety of things to do, beautiful architecture, love the rivers. And I love Pumapungo is right there in the heart of the city. I love that. That is my favorite place in Cuenca.
Yeah, only the U.S. and Eritrea, which is a really cool name. It's an island nation off the coast of Ethiopia. And actually, they charge a 2% tax to citizens who live abroad, but very few, from what we understand, actually pay that 2% tax. The United States are much more effective at scaring us to death into paying every penny that we owe. So
they scare me.
Yeah, we pay all of our U.S. taxes. We still pay Social Security, Medicare, FICA. We pay all that stuff that we don't use and may not have access to it when we need it, but we still pay.
Yes, we do. That's just the way it is.
We both should get a Patreon. We have one. Yes. We're at patreon.com/AmeliaandJP.
Yep.
And we have a really active community over in Discord, which is our private chat community. Not chap, although there are a lot of good chaps in there.
Oh my gosh. That was funny, JP.
So out of all of South America, do you like Ecuador the best? Of course, but we have to say that we've never been to another country in South America. So
no, we thought we were going to come here and have already been to other countries, and then we had the pandemic. So we are very behind in our travels. But our plan was always to travel throughout Ecuador first, which, oh my gosh, as you guys know, we have been amazed on every every trip we've taken.
Yeah.
And then there's places we want to go back to, like Mindo.
Yeah.
Cotacachi.
I know that was our plan, is to have more of a travel YouTube channel, but then the pandemic hit and we didn't go anywhere for 2 years. So we're going to get out there soon. Stay tuned.
Yep.
We have some trips booked already. Let's see, somebody said, if you go to the Orient, be prepared for bugs the size of a small dog.
Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, that's a little scary.
We had some big bugs in Alone. Remember Cuchita?
Oh, yeah, Cuchita.
Is that what we named her?
No, what was that?
What was her name? I don't remember. We had a giant cockroach that we named
Cochita, right?
I don't remember. I thought it was. It doesn't matter.
It was
she was like this big.
She was really colorful.
But it was still a giant cockroach.
She was outside. We saw her in our yard.
Yes, she liked to hang out for a while. And then one day she stopped coming. I don't think they have a very long lifespan.
No.
And really big moths, like this big.
Yeah, moths the size of your hand.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about owning real estate in Mexico. I don't know. We don't know anything about owning real estate in Mexico.
Well, you can definitely own real estate because they have an investment visa, but I don't know if you could actually own the land or if it's just the building. Maybe somebody else watching can chime in on that one.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Ecuador is a challenge. Real estate's a challenge here, but it's a lot of people do it. A lot of people buy houses. It's an all cash deal. Very rarely will you find any kind of financing. So if you want to buy a house, you need to have money, cash.
Yep. 10-minute travel break. Love it. And thank you. Cool name.
Yes, muchas gracias. Let's see. Did the government lock things down for COVID? Yeah, we were locked down for months.
Locked down.
Like it was like you couldn't go anywhere for like 3 months.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
It was a bit brutal. Like we weren't even allowed to walk on the beach.
No, that sucked. However, President Lasso just said a couple days ago that he is ready to declare the end to the pandemic here in Ecuador. So we're waiting to hear if that means they're going to drop all of the requirements to enter the country. So we will keep you all posted.
Yeah, because right now you can come here with either a vaccine certificate or a PCR test.
That's negative.
That's negative.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we don't know what's going to happen right now. There's no mask mandate anymore. It's pretty much back to business as usual. You have to wear a mask in hospitals or any kind of health facilities, but it's not required anywhere else. And we are noticing now that most people are not wearing masks. Before we went to the US back in July, it was still like 90% of people were wearing masks, even outdoors. When we came back in September, it was already down to like 50%. So, and now I would say it's 30% of people are wearing masks outside or in the shopping centers and stuff.
So you have a couple of comments about living in Ecuador for $1,000 a month and as a single person. And yes, you can do that for sure. Especially if you're in some of the mountain areas, those towns tend to be less expensive. Like Cotacachi is very affordable. There's parts of Cuenca. Loja is going to be more affordable. We lived our first couple years in Cuenca for under $1,800 for the two of us. And we had a big house. We did not need that big of a house, but we ended up renting a bigger place because of the dogs. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have dogs, you can get you have a lot more options. Sometimes people are really particular about dogs and they consider Daisy a big dog here. She's like 30 pounds. So put that in perspective. Alicia was no problem. She's like this big.
Are there stray dogs and are they aggressive? I can't say that there's a huge stray dog problem anymore, but it's a free range dog society. The dogs walk themselves. So, and some of them can be aggressive.
We've encountered a very small percentage of aggressive dogs throughout our time here. And to your point, JP, most of them were on that stretch along the coast when we lived over by Alone, when we got to kind of down past Nunez. Mm-hmm. So. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
they're out there.
Yeah. And the stray dogs are not as bad as they were when we first got here. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Let's see. Esmeraldas is cheap, cost of living, but not many expats. It's also one of the more dangerous areas in Ecuador because it's right on the coast of Colombia. And so there's a lot of drug traffic that comes through there. And it's often in the news here.
Yeah, we have not been there. However, the beaches look beautiful.
So will you be doing more outside videos of attractions? In Ecuador, yes,
We will.
but we're going to be traveling. We're going to be doing foreign excursions to show some other popular expat areas in the coming months.
Yes, so we'll be doing some foreign and domestic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that was funny. Sonny, I think that so many people here are very friendly. Obviously, there's always a grumpy pants because that's human nature. That's life. But we rarely encounter people who are just truly unhappy here in Ecuador. Ecuadorians are very friendly. It's a laid back culture.
Yeah.
We really appreciate that.
Have we ever been in a neighborhood where we felt dangerous or felt that we thought was dangerous or where we felt like we were in fear? No. But also, we don't go to those neighborhoods. I mean, it's like I wouldn't do that in the United States either. I wouldn't go to neighborhoods in the U.S. that are known for high crime.
No, we didn't. We haven't accidentally stumbled into neighborhoods that turned out were dangerous. That has not happened to us, and hopefully it won't. I did that when I was a kid in Chicago. Sometimes I look back to some of the stuff I did when I was a kid, and I'm like, God, I'm surprised I never got myself into any trouble, but that has not happened here in Ecuador, and fingers crossed it does not.
Tom, our health insurance is $192 a month for both of us. And we have a low deductible plan. It's $100 annual deductible. And then we have $15 copay for our doctor's visits.
Yeah, we were just talking about insurance the other day, and it seems like there's a wider variety of plans and policies available now. So a lot of it depends on your age and your pre-existing conditions, but you can get some higher deductible plans and some gap insurance plans too. So there's a lot of good options.
Will we be covering Nicaragua in future videos? I think we will.
I know.
I'm excited to go there, to the land of lakes and volcanoes.
Well, see, it's one of those places where I was always like, oh gosh, you can't go there, just like Colombia. Yeah. And now after doing the research and hearing from so many of you, we're very intrigued.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited to go to so many places. I told Amelia, I said, you better get your traveling cap out because we are going to be traveling a lot. Because it's always been my dream to travel and go to a lot of different places. And that was our plan, but COVID put the smack down on that. So hopefully we can get back out there now. And there's so many, I've been to probably 8 or 10 countries, I think, but I want to be 10 times that. So Amelia, be prepared.
Well, we have to have time to come home and
yeah,
I like a little more balance.
She's like, but we have so much work to do. Right?
Also, I like to be home.
Yeah.
I like both. I like to travel, but then I need to have my breaks in between so I could have some time to get kind of back to normal and eat healthy because you tend to eat out a lot more when you're traveling. So I'm
anxious to get out there and film the world.
I know. I am too. I've definitely got the bug too.
I am happiest when I'm traveling, and both of us are. We are so present and we have so much fun out seeing things and doing things and meeting people, and it's just so much fun. So I cannot wait to get out there and see the world and take you guys along with us. That's our goal. It's one of the things we love about our YouTube channel is that we can go out and show the world to you guys. And obviously our focus is going to be on popular expat areas, which is one reason why we've been doing all of our research videos to determine where we want to go and what we want to film when we go there. So that's why we've been doing a lot of these top 10 videos for popular expat destinations. And we're going to continue doing those. And we have a lot of fun. Amelia loves doing the research, and I love doing all the B-roll and pulling that together. And
yeah, it's been so fun to learn about the world. So MW, that's really cool about the biggest handmade hammock. A little thing for us to go and check out when we go to Nicaragua, to Granada. Very cool. Thanks. I love that interesting bit of the local customs and crafts and things that make each area so unique.
Yeah. Somebody, SoCal D, was born in SoCal, but family is from Ambato. Oh. And yes, we do plan to go to Ambato and Baños and Riobamba. Yeah. It's on our list. We're going to probably spend several days in that area
Yeah, we need to spend at least a week out there.
Yeah, it'll be early next year probably.
Yep.
When we go there.
And Colombia. And somebody else was asking about Chile and Argentina. Argentina has been on my must-do list for a long time. And then I was reading the other day about popular train tours you can take throughout the world. And I did not know that there's one in Patagonia in Argentina. So JP is all on board for that. How cool would that be?
Yeah, that would be awesome to take a train, the Patagonia Express.
Yes. I don't remember if that's what it was called, but close enough. I'm sure if we looked it up like that, we could find it.
My wife and I own a condo in Colombia. Very cool. Want to buy a finca maybe someday. That'd be awesome.
Nice.
So a finca is like a little farm, right?
That'd be great.
That's cool.
Grow your own fruits and veggies. Love it. Sunny's Beach Town. Oh, in Ecuador. Playas, maybe? Salinas?
Manta, Crucita, maybe.
Yeah, Crucita and Manta. Not alone.
San Lorenzo was sunny every time we went there.
Yeah, you're right. It was really sunny.
Really, anywhere kind of north of Puerto Lopez is sunnier.
Or
Salinas. Yeah, that stretch of coast kind of north of Salinas to Puerto Lopez is often cloudy.
Yes. Playas. Cody said Playas is.
Oh yeah, Playas is very sunny. It's beautiful there. They claim to have the best weather in the world.
Well, it was really amazing when we were there.
Yeah, it was. It was so beautiful.
Camera and lens you use. iPhone.
Yeah, I used to have a really fancy camera. Is a pain because I had to carry batteries. I had to change them all the time. And then I bought a new iPhone, and the battery lasts like hours. And I don't have to deal with any of the settings. It creates great video without me doing anything. I have a 13 Pro. It's got 3 lenses on it. It works fantastic. I use Adobe Premiere Pro for editing. I don't know that I would recommend it if you're just starting out. It's expensive. It's cumbersome. It crashes a lot. Although it used to crash all the time. Now it only crashes once in a while, but it's really bloated software that's 30 years old, and it's got a lot of usability issues. I would recommend trying one of the other ones if you've never edited before. There's so many. Like Filmora is a good one. A lot of people use Final Cut, which is Apple's product, but I've heard people say the same thing about that they don't recommend it, that it's just what they use. So
yeah, we haven't heard of one that just stands up above all the rest, unfortunately.
No, they all have like different they all have basically the same functionality, but different kind of usability issues and price points. But
yeah, that's the way it is.
It's easier to find editors that know Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pro than it is to find editors for some of these other ones. A lot of the editing companies, if you get to the point like we are, where we have help with editing now, it's harder to find people that know these other programs. But let's see. Yeah, we're not taking satisfaction knowing that we're not enjoying the rapid increase of cost of living in the U.S. We were shocked when we were back in August.
Yeah.
It was shocking, the cost of living, the cost of everything.
Yeah. Oh, Bari? I'm sure I completely
Open Shot
ruined
Video
your
Editor.
name. Sorry. Open Shot Video Editor. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Frio Bamba.
Frio Bamba.
Yeah, we were cold in well, I shouldn't say cold. We were chilly in Cotacachi and in Cuenca and in Quito. Unfortunately, it gets a bit chilly in the mountains.
Cody says that Playas claims to be number 1, but they have no idea who number 2 is. That's funny.
Oh, no, I know. I remember that, reading about that too. When I was doing my Playas research, I'm like, well, who's number 1? I guess it's somewhat subjective.
Yes.
That is funny.
So Tom said, nice background setting.
Thank you.
I know we had that made here in Ecuador, the mountains back there. A local craftsman made that for us. It's a sound dampening thing. Helps with the echo. Yes,
that is one thing we have struggled with during our lives here in Ecuador, because they do not do carpeting here. Everything is hard surfaces, and boy, stuff really just bounces off those walls, off the ceilings.
Is it the 9th? It is the 9th. Feliz Dia de Independencia, Guayaquil. We almost forgot about that. We were in Guayaquil 2 years ago, right? When
Yeah, we
for
were.
this, for
We
the
were.
holiday.
Wow. I didn't realize today was the 9th. I've been so off. I thought it was the 7th.
Yeah, I've lost track too. It's like the days all run together now. But yes, happy Independence Day, Guayaquil.
Yes.
It's interesting in Ecuador, every major city has their own Independence Day. So in Cuenca, it's Tres de Noviembre. It's November 3rd is when they officially declared independence. Loja has their own, so does Quito. So they all kind of celebrate as they gained their own independence.
Yep.
And then they have the Battle of Pichincha, which is like April 24th or something, or
I
May.
thought it was April 12th.
Oh yeah,
Doce
de Abril, and then 24 de Mayo. What's that one?
Oh, I don't remember, JP.
I know. And then there's one in
Shame on
August
us.
too, which there's so many Independence Days in Ecuador. It's hard to keep track of all of them.
BJ said, what about the lies in the original title? The lies were the nonsense that we had been fed by media and stuff like that
in our education system.
Yes.
So you can watch the beginning of the live stream once we're done here, and we talked about it for like the first 15 minutes or so.
And Tom Baker, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Muchas gracias.
That's really nice. Although we're not drinking wine right now.
No, but we could have a nice mocktail
or a coffee. We might use that for coffee. Hope that's okay.
Not tonight though.
No.
I've had enough caffeine, coffee. We can have a decaf.
Yes.
Or some jugos.
2 expats in Mexico. Oh, cool. We'll have to check them out.
Yeah.
There's a lot more channels in Mexico.
There's a lot of good Mexico channels.
Food price increase, consequences of the gas price. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although the gas prices, everybody talks about that, but it's really just the premium that has gone up. The regular gas that a lot of the farmers use is still the same as it was. Actually, it's lower because of the reduction.
I think it went up for a while and then they brought it back down, if I recall correctly.
It was, Lasso took it off of that ban system that Moreno put him on a year ago. So Moreno removed the subsidy kind of thing when gas prices bottomed out during the pandemic.
Oh, right.
And then was going to allow the gas to fluctuate with the commodity pricing. But Lasso ended that about a year ago and reinstated the subsidies to prevent the gas prices from skyrocketing. So, I'm not really sure. A lot of people talk about the gas prices in Ecuador, but they're super cheap compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Well, compared to the States, for sure.
So Ecuador is currently on Central Time, but when the United States falls back, right? Spring forward, fall back.
Yes. We'll be on Eastern.
Yeah, we'll be on Eastern. And hopefully that ends next year and we will not have to deal with that anymore. I
know. I get very confused with the time changes, especially when we're talking like Pacific and Arizona, who also doesn't change. And then
So diesel is $1.75 a gallon here. So that has not gone up. In fact, it's gone down. It was $1.85, if I remember correctly. So I'm not sure why there's so much. I don't know if it's misinformation or what, but that is super cheap. Go to the United States and fill up a diesel truck. It'll cost you like $1,000.
I guess the question is, where was diesel pricing several years ago? Because we have no idea.
It was the same because they also reinstituted the previous pricing, that it was the subsidized pricing that it was before the pandemic. So I'm not sure.
I don't know. JP's right. The premium was crazy. It was like $5.60 or something outrageous like that.
Diesel is really cheap here. So if you think $1.75 a gallon for diesel is high, go to the United States. I think it's like $6 a gallon there. So, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thanks, Cody. We always like it when people hit the like button.
We appreciate that.
Where are we anyway? I haven't even noticed. Oh, we're one away. Come on, somebody. One person hit the like and give us 400 likes.
So John Way said he paid $2.25 a liter yesterday for his tractor.
So how many liters are in a gallon? Is it 2 or 3?
So I don't know. And John, where are you? Yeah. And then Carlos said average is $4.50. Yeah, the prices have gone back down too. They were high when we were in the States, but they have gone back down to a little bit more normal.
Rick was
Rick.
400. Congrats,
Oh,
Rick.
thanks, Rick.
We're up to 425 now.
Thanks, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we've heard that the diesel quality in Ecuador is not good.
Yeah.
And we see it in the big black clouds of smoke as people go by. There is a movement to improve the quality of the diesel as well as the low octane gas. So hopefully they'll work on that.
Yeah, because that brings up a whole nother slew of issues.
3.78 for a gallon. And where are you, John? Did you post that? I missed it.
I think
Canada. He's in Canada.
Okay.
Oh, Canada. Amelia
Wow.
looks hot as always.
Thank you.
I'm a lucky man.
We're both very lucky. Wow, $5.85 in Vegas right now? Jeez Louise, that's high.
Yeah.
I know. It was it was out of control in the summer months. Yikes.
Maui's 538 each.
Hawaii is expensive.
Yeah,
though.
so Ecuador, it's all relative, right? Because Ecuador has like the cheapest gas in this region of South America, but everybody complains about how expensive it is. But if you go to like Peru or Colombia, it's actually a lot more expensive in those countries. Which
is all relative.
So it is all relative. It's, I guess, what you're used to paying. But
yeah,
I remember when I was a kid, I used to fill up in the 80s, late 80s. Gas was like 85 cents a gallon. Man, I was so happy. And back when I was in high school and had no money and gas was cheap.
no more. Wow, $12 a gallon in Norway? That's crazy. Jeez.
Yeah, that's a lot. Gallon is 3.8 liters. Wow. So, wow. That's just wow. That's a lot. All right. So let's move on from the gas thing. I think we should probably start wrapping this up. What do you think, Amelia? We've been at this for an hour.
My butt's
40
getting
minutes.
a little sore.
I know my back's hurting, but
we've been sitting.
We've really enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the first part about the lies we believed. Yes. And a lot of people still do because we get comments all the time along those lines. Hopefully we've kind of set the record straight. I highly recommend reading the book Factfulness by Hans Rosling. It's an eye-opening thing. It really makes you realize the world is not as scary or as dangerous or as backward as we are led to believe or think it is. And it's really eye-opening. And if you've never traveled much abroad or lived abroad, it's a really great primer to get you ready for it because it makes you realize that the world is not that scary.
No, and most people are the same everywhere. We all want to live happy, healthy lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're really excited to go explore more.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Especially JP, in case you guys didn't pick up on that.
Oh, somebody info seeker signed up for the newsletter. The news year. I'm assuming you meant newsletter. Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, I forgot. We have a discount. I totally forgot. We have a discount for our e-course. It's running through, the next couple of days. I'll probably turn it off soon.
Well, especially since we forgot to talk about it.
Yeah, since I forgot to mention it.
It's a super secret promotion.
Yeah, our super secret e-course discount. 20% off our e-course right now. And I'll leave it. I was going to end it today, but I'll leave it up for the next few days since I forgot to promote it. Yeah. So it's A to Z expat fast track that will walk you through every step of the process of moving to Ecuador. We take out all the guesswork and share all the painful lessons we learned and wish we knew before we moved here.
Yes. And we do keep it updated. We get that question every once in a while. So especially the visa, since that stuff changes, we do go back and update all that information.
Yeah. We are doing our best to keep it updated as things change here. So awesome. Thanks, Smart Panda.
Yes, thanks, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, and thank you for all of the super chats. We really appreciate those.
We do.
And we will see you all probably next week. I think next week we're going to talk about all of my recent healthcare experiences, including the costs and our process with the insurance and getting reimbursed for our expenses. So tune in next week if you want to know how healthcare works here. We are super impressed and very, very thankful to be at Ecuador, as I've had some more unfortunate health issues. But I'm still alive and very, very thankful for every day.
He's still alive.
Very thankful for every day. It makes you realize that your life is precious and you just have to be thankful for every day that you have.
Absolutely.
So, all right, guys, thank you so much. We will see you all soon. And be sure to tune in for our premiere on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I'll post it on Wednesday and make sure you come a little early and chat with us.
Yeah, we'd love that.
Awesome, guys.
All right.
Ciao.
Ciao.